In 632 AD, a new political and spiritual system emerged from Medina. Following the death of the Prophet Muhammad, the early Muslim community established the Caliphate to centralize political and military authority. This newly formed state secured its borders through immediate expansion. Arab armies swept across the Arabian Peninsula, consolidating power through rapid, highly mobile warfare. By 636, under the command of Khalid ibn al-Walid, they engaged the Byzantine Empire near the Yarmouk River. After 4 days of fighting, the Muslim forces achieved a decisive victory, crushing the Byzantine forces and seizing control of the Levant, Palestine, and Egypt. The early Caliphate's survival rested on hard military power and a unified command structure. Its legitimacy was forged on the battlefield, preceding the development of complex state bureaucracies. Rapid conquest brought enormous wealth and administrative complexity. Ruling a massive territory from North Africa to Persia strained the initial system of choosing leaders, leading to severe political instability. The tension peaked at the Battle of Karbala in Iraq. Hussein ibn Ali, the Prophet's grandson, and his small band of followers were killed by Umayyad forces. This event created a permanent ideological fracture within the Muslim community. From this chaos, the Umayyads consolidated control. They abandoned the tradition of electing a caliph by council, transforming the office into a hereditary monarchy based in Damascus. To project imperial dominance, the Umayyads invested in monumental scale. Structures like the Umayyad Mosque demonstrated a sense of permanence designed to rival the established Roman and Sassanid empires. Externally, the empire grew. Internally, the foundational unity of the early caliphate had been replaced by centralized wealth and dynastic ambition. The Umayyads were eventually overthrown by the Abbasids, who moved the capital east to Baghdad on the banks of the Tigris. Here, the caliphate shifted its focus from constant military expansion to intellectual supremacy. This brass astrolabe reflects the explosion of scientific and astronomical advancement during the Islamic Golden Age. Scholars calculated planetary movements, refined algebra, and developed navigation tools that mapped the stars with precision. This manuscript shows systematic documentation of medicinal plants, supporting texts that informed global healthcare. The Arabic script represents a massive scholarly undertaking. At the House of Wisdom, scholars translated global texts, preserving knowledge and adding original research. Over centuries, the Abbasid caliphs grew comfortable. They relied on their immense cultural and religious authority, allowing their actual military strength to atrophy under the assumption that their intellectual prestige made Baghdad untouchable. By the 13th century, the Abbasids had allowed their military readiness to erode, relying instead on the weight of their religious office. This left the heart of the Islamic world vulnerable as the Mongol Empire expanded aggressively from the east. In early 1258, Mongol forces encircled Baghdad. Utilizing advanced siege technology, they battered the walls, shattering the defenses of an unprepared city. The fortifications collapsed in just 2 weeks. Mongol troops executed the caliph and slaughtered the officials whose authority had once seemed absolute, proving that their religious office offered no protection against superior force. The massacre extended to the scholars and clerics. Baghdad's vast libraries were emptied into the Tigris, physically destroying the institutions that had defined the Golden Age. The fall of Baghdad demonstrated that inherited legitimacy and religious ceremony provide no defense for a state that has lost its ability to exercise hard power. Following the destruction in the east, the center of Islamic power shifted to Istanbul. By the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire had formally claimed the title of Caliphate, initially backing the office with a disciplined and massive military. By the late 19th century, the Ottomans faced severe territorial losses to European powers. In response, Sultan Abdul Hamid II attempted to weaponize its fading prestige, promoting a pan-Islamist policy to gather global Muslim support and deter foreign aggression. This absolutist rule ended with the Young Turk Revolution of 1908. The Caliphate was stripped of its domestic political power, reduced to a diplomatic symbol used by the new government. At the onset of World War I, Sultan Mehmed V made a final attempt to use his religious weight, proclaiming a global jihad to incite uprisings in European colonies. The call went largely ignored. the title of Caliph had become a hollow shell, projecting religious influence to mask a total absence of geopolitical leverage. The failure of the Ottoman decree highlighted a shift in the region. Modern political alliances and regional nationalism had superseded traditional religious allegiances. This was proven during the Great Arab Revolt of 1916. Arab subjects took up arms against the Ottoman Caliphate, prioritizing their own territorial independence over the fading authority of Istanbul. After losing its Arab territories and the collapse of the Ottoman state, the newly formed Republic of Turkey officially abolished the Caliphate in 1924, ending a 1,400-year institutional history. The ancient political system that first began in the blowing sands of Medina had finally and completely faded into history. The Caliphate fell because it lost the balance between prestige and power. Its golden age could not survive once the state forgot that its cultural and intellectual achievements required foundational unity and raw force to defend them.